Remember that scene in Talladega Nights where the original driver leaves the track and Lucius asks the pit crew if anyone wants to jump in and go fast? Well, Celsius Holdings is Ricky Bobby. I promise I'll drop various insights throughout this content that will help you make sense of that introductory statement. But as I normally do with my quarterly financial content of publicly traded functional CPG brands, I will use the recently filed earnings report, notes I took from listening to the earnings conference call, and any relevant publicly disclosed news. In this case, it's the 2023 quarter three period ending September 30th of 2023 for Celsius Holdings, to obviously update you on the performance of the Celsius energy drinks, but also use it as a backdrop to discuss market insights within the broader energy beverage category. That being said, let's start with some revenue numbers to kind of set the foundation. In the quarter, Celsius Holdings had revenue of $384.8 million, which was up 104% year over year. On a quarter over quarter sequential basis, revenue grew an equally impressive 18%. Breaking out the revenue geographically, North American sales were $371.2 million, which was up 107% year over year. This doubling of growth was driven by increases in total distribution points and SKUs per location. An additional cool data point shared by Celsius, according to IRI's last 52-week data ending October 8th of 2023, Celsius was again the number one brand driver of dollar and unit growth in the energy drinks category. Celsius was responsible for 28% of the category growth, driving $949.7 million in incremental dollar sales. On the international side, Celsius had quarterly revenue of $13.6 million, which was up 56% year over year. This growth was driven in large part by successful innovation launches, increased velocity, and brand awareness. I've mentioned this kind of in a few of the recent previous pieces of content, but this hasn't been smooth sailing internationally for the energy drinks brand that did acquire its Nordic distributor in late 2019 and formed a joint venture with its Chinese partner. With global macroeconomic headwinds throughout the last, say, few years or so at this point, Celsius has smartly focused its attention and resources on fueling the insane growth within the domestic market. But that's already starting to change inside Celsius as they have been laying the groundwork with PepsiCo to capture what they believe is a significant opportunity for increased growth over the next 3 to 5 years. In early 2024, we will see Celsius expand internationally into a few countries that are most familiar with the energy drinks category. The first major international market expansion under the PepsiCo umbrella will be in Canada. Then Celsius and PepsiCo will use those learnings along with kind of emulating the Monster and Coke international structures for further expansion. Speaking of Monster Energy, the international revenue portion of their business is around 40%, and it's outpacing the US market in growth rates. With Celsius International only accounting for less than 5% of its total revenue, you could see there's really like a ton of long-term runway left, even if comparing these are like apples and oranges for a number of strategic reasons. Now, if you've consumed my Celsius content in the past, this next section is usually much more robust, but because of that August 2022 distribution and investment deal with PepsiCo, things have gotten a bit more simplified from the perspective of Celsius and a tad bit more cloudier from my perspective. But it's all good. There's still a ton of like retail and distribution updates to go through that I think are extremely important. First and foremost, the entire DSD distributor transition was completed by the end of 2022. So Celsius is fully within the PepsiCo distribution system throughout this year. In terms of consumption growth, IRI data for the period ending October 8th of 2023 shows that Celsius grew 168% year over year over the last 4 weeks, 161% year over year over the last 12 weeks. That's significantly larger than the broader energy category, which grew 11.2% year over the last 4 weeks, and then 13.7% over the last 12-week period. In addition, according to the trailing 4 weeks of IRI all track channel data for the period again ending October 8th of 2023, Celsius is now securely the third largest energy drink brand in the category. Its market share went from 4.4% in the third quarter of last year to now 10.5%. I want to kind of quickly recall something I said a few quarters back that it would take potentially another 12 to 18 months to get to that 95% ACV. So, with the current velocity numbers, better placements in locations, and potentially getting to like 15 to 17 items per store by the end of the year, Celsius could be looking at 10% market share in the energy drinks category. And I don't want to gloss over that accomplishment because it's the first time in over a decade that an energy drink not named Red Bull or Monster Energy has had a 10% share in the US market. How does Celsius push that even further? It really comes down to one, increasing sales velocities, which have been rising consistently in 2023, and two, increasing total distribution points, which is comprised of ACV and items per store. PepsiCo continues to facilitate ACV expansion for Celsius, supporting new customer acquisitions across broad demographics and new usage occasions. Currently, the brand's ACV is just under 96% compared to slightly under 72% the previous year. Additionally, the convenience stores, which, as you guys know, is the granddaddy of them all in terms of the sales channels of energy drinks, Celsius has seen its ACV increase to 95.6%, which is absurdly up almost 23 percentage points compared to the same period last year. The average items carried per store has increased exponentially since the PepsiCo partnership as well, but still lags Monster and Red Bull considerably. As an example, TDPs of Celsius are only about half compared to Monster and Red Bull, and still 20% less than where Bang was at peak distribution. Going forward, Celsius will increase items per store through a combination of flavor expansion, more placements in stores such as like secondary placements like Celsius branded coolers, and introducing new products like the new Celsius Essentials lineup. This larger can and caffeine content version will shift from the 7-Eleven exclusive this year to nationwide rollout in 2024. A great model for this growth potential is the South Florida market. This is the backyard of Celsius, and that's where you want to win because you have the easiest opportunity to control growth drivers. Over the last 4 weeks, the IRI period ending October 8th of 2023, Celsius in the South Florida market had share approximately 24%, so more than double its nationwide market share. Now, moving on to a sales channel I always want to mention, and that is e-commerce. I know I sound like a broken record at this point, but my belief is that the digital channel is the next frontier of beverage retailing, and having a long term integrated sales channel strategy needs to be centered around it. This has been an area of huge strength for Celsius Holdings over the last several years, so they understand what I'm talking about, but it finally happened. According to Stackline data for the last 14 weeks ending September 30th of 2023, Celsius is the best selling energy drink brand on Amazon. They currently have 21.4% share of the energy drinks category on Amazon. That's ahead of Monster, that's at 18.6%, and Red Bull, that's at just around 13%. In this quarter, Celsius reported generating $22.2 million in Amazon revenue, which is up 42% year over year. Celsius also became the number one energy drink brand on the Instacart grocery marketplace and continues to outpace that category of growth as the largest and fastest growing brand on the platform. So, with Celsius becoming the top energy drink brand on both of those very important e commerce marketplaces, it's safe to say that it's the official energy drink of the internet generation. Another alt channel I want to highlight was food service, which now makes up a little more than 10% of the energy drink brand's revenue that comes from PepsiCo. Celsius is seeing a long runway of growth opportunities in the food service channel as they've been able to expand recently into thousands of colleges, hospitals, hotels, casinos, and restaurant locations in the United States. During the quarter, the food service team landed Celsius energy drinks in over 2,000 Jersey Mike locations and gained authorization in over 3,000 Dunkin' Donuts locations nationwide. For my OG subscribers, you recognize the strategy that I highlighted in April of 2019 and dubbed it OnPremise 2.0. It's important to remember that OnPremise was an integral sales channel strategy when introducing energy drinks to the US consumers in the late 90s and early 2000s. Fast forward 2 decades, and I believe the energy drinks category is now closing in on the beverage Mount Rushmore status. To achieve it, the on-premise sales channel strategy might play an important role again to increase category awareness. But this time, it won't be the hottest bars and nightclubs. it will be fast food restaurants. The other sales channel I want to give some additional color to is with the wholesale clubs like Costco, Sam's Club, and BJ's Wholesale. In this quarter, Celsius sold $63.2 million dollars in energy drinks through the club channel, which was up 83.3% year over year. Specifically, Costco accounted for 9% of the total Celsius revenue in the third quarter. That's a lot of energy drinks being sold through wholesale clubs, but I think there's substantial runway in the club channel left for Celsius. And that's even after it likely reaches my prediction from last year of $250 million dollars that they would achieve in 2023. I do want to stress, though, that this channel growth does have some margin impact as these irregular pack sizes have higher costs and the channel pricing model provides less profit overall. But I just want to end with some quick final thoughts. I've talked a lot about sales performance, but we can't forget about marketing and advertising because without creating awareness, these energy drinks are just another within the sea of sameness. Celsius has a household penetration of just about 25% compared to 11.1% a year ago. This makes the energy drink brand the number one growth brand in household penetration. Celsius has incurred substantially more in marketing and advertising expenses, but it's not misaligned with overall revenue growth. In fact, it's almost the same with year to date Celsius revenue growth at 104% and the marketing and advertising expenses up 108%. This shows us that marketing strategies, though outsized from previous years, are driving ROI. But I hope you enjoyed this YouTube video. If you did, consider hitting the like button to support me. Also, help me get to my new short-term goal of 3,000 subscribers by hitting that subscribe button. I'd love to see you join me on this journey, but we need to fix the fact that basically 80% of you that are watching this YouTube video right now are not subscribed to my channel, and that makes me extremely sad. But I do want to thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one.